What if the person who triggers you the most is actually revealing the one place inside you that is still not free? Someone insults you, ignores you, rejects you, disrespects you. Within seconds, they are no longer affecting just a single moment. They are controlling your thoughts, your emotions, sometimes even your entire day. But Buddhism teaches a truth that most people never discover. Freedom does not begin when people finally change. It begins the moment you understand the space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. Master that space, and your entire life changes. People can criticize you without defining you, reject you without breaking you, provoke you without stealing your peace. Stay with me until the end, because the lesson you're about to learn has helped people stop giving others control over their minds for thousands of years. And if you're ready to become impossible to trigger and finally reclaim your inner peace, subscribe now. And let's begin with the first lesson. 1. The moment you react, you hand them your power. Someone says something rude to you. Before you even have time to think, your body reacts. Your chest feels tight. Your face becomes hot. Your mind starts searching for the perfect answer. You want to correct them. You want to defend yourself. You want to make sure they know they cannot treat you this way. And maybe they really were wrong. Maybe they were unfair. Maybe they crossed a line. But before you focus on what they did, notice what happened inside you. A few seconds ago, you were calm. Now your peace is gone because of someone else's words. That is the real problem. Not because their behavior was acceptable, but because their behavior was able to take control of your inner state. Most people spend their whole life trying to control how others treat them. They want people to speak kindly. They want people to understand them. They want people to respect them. They want people to behave the way they expect. But they never learn how to protect their own peace when people do not. And this is why they keep suffering. Someone insults them, they react. Someone ignores them, they react. Someone disagrees with them, they react. Someone disappoints them, they react. Someone changes their behavior, they react. Slowly, their peace becomes something other people can control. It is like living in a house with the door always open. Anyone can enter. A rude stranger can enter. An old memory can enter. A painful message can enter. A difficult family member can enter. Someone's bad mood can enter. Someone's opinion can enter. And once they enter, they change everything inside you. This is why awareness is so powerful. There is always a small space between what happens and what you do next. At first, that space feels tiny. Someone says something hurtful and you react immediately. But as you become more aware, that space grows. You hear the words. You feel the anger rising. You notice the urge to answer. But you pause. You do not move straight away. And in that pause, something beautiful happens. You become free to choose. That pause may only last a few seconds, but those few seconds can save your peace. Imagine someone throws a burning piece of coal at you. Would you catch it and hold it close to your chest? Of course not. You would let it fall. But emotionally, we often do the opposite. Someone throws anger at us. We catch it. Someone throws disrespect. We carry it. Someone throws bitterness. We take it home. Someone says one cruel sentence in the afternoon, and we are still thinking about it at midnight. The moment ended. But we kept it alive. This is one of the deepest reasons people lose their peace. They keep carrying what should have been left where it happened. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to notice what rises inside us without becoming trapped in it. When anger comes, notice it. When hurt comes, notice it. When the need to defend yourself comes, notice it. Do not become the feeling immediately. Watch it first. This sounds simple, but it takes strength, because the ego wants to act fast. It says, answer them, show them, do not let them win, make them regret it. But stop for a moment. What are they really winning? If one sentence from someone can make you lose your calm, lose your focus, and lose your whole day, then who really has the power? You can win an argument and still lose your peace. You can prove someone wrong and still feel empty inside. You can send the perfect reply and regret it the next morning. That is why real strength is not about reacting faster. Real strength is being able to react, but choosing wisely instead. Sometimes silence is powerful. Not because you are scared, not because you have nothing to say, but because you understand that not every situation deserves your energy. Sometimes walking away is powerful, not because you are weak, but because you know there is nothing valuable waiting for you inside that argument. Sometimes speaking is necessary. Sometimes you must say no. Sometimes you must set a clear boundary. Sometimes you must protect yourself. But even then, let your response come from calmness. Do not let another person's anger choose your behavior for you. That is the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction says, you changed me. Response says, I still choose who I am. The next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, notice the first feeling that rises. Do not trust it immediately. Take one breath. Take 3 if you need them. Then ask yourself, if I act from this feeling, where will it take me? That one question can save you from many regrets. Maybe you still need to speak. Speak calmly. Maybe you need to leave. Leave with dignity. Maybe you need to set a boundary. Set it without hatred. You do not have to become angry just because someone brought anger to you. You do not have to become cruel just because someone was cruel to you. You do not have to lose yourself just because someone tried to disturb you. This is where your real power returns. Not when nobody can hurt you. Not when everyone starts treating you perfectly. Your power returns when pain no longer decides your next move. When someone hurts you and you still choose your character. When someone provokes you and you still choose your peace. When someone tries to pull you into darkness and you refuse to leave your own light. That is strength. That is awareness, and that is the beginning of freedom. 2. What triggers you reveals what still controls you. Have you ever noticed that some words do not affect you at all, while one simple sentence can stay in your mind for hours? Someone may criticize the way you dress, and you forget it in a minute. But someone says, you are not good enough, and suddenly it feels much deeper. Why? Because not every trigger is only about the person in front of you. Sometimes their words touch something inside you that was already hurting. Maybe you already feared that you were not good enough. Maybe you already worried that people would leave you. Maybe you already questioned your value. Maybe you already felt behind in life. So when someone touches that hidden fear, the reaction becomes much stronger. This is why triggers can teach you something very important. They show you where your heart is still sensitive. They show you what you are still afraid of losing. They show you where you are still looking for approval. They show you what part of your peace is still depending on someone else. And this does not mean you should blame yourself. It means you should understand yourself. There is a big difference. Most people get triggered and immediately focus on the other person. Why did they say that? How could they treat me like this? What is wrong with them? But sometimes the more powerful question is, why did this hurt me so deeply? That question can open a door inside you. Maybe being ignored hurts because you connect attention with love. Maybe rejection hurts because being chosen makes you feel valuable. Maybe criticism makes you angry because being wrong feels like weakness. Maybe someone's success makes you uncomfortable because it reminds you of something you have not started yet. Maybe someone walking away hurts so much because deep inside you are afraid of being left. The outside event may be small, but it may touch an old wound. And when that wound is still open, even a light touch can feel painful. Buddhist wisdom teaches us not to run from these moments. It teaches us to look at them with honesty, not with shame, not with self-hatred, with awareness. When you feel triggered, do not immediately say, "I should not feel this." Instead, say, "Something inside me needs to be understood." That changes everything. You stop fighting the feeling. You start listening to it. Anger may be telling you that you feel disrespected. Jealousy may be telling you that you feel insecure. Fear may be telling you that you are too attached to one outcome. Defensiveness may be telling you that your self-image feels threatened. Sometimes the feeling is not the enemy. It is the messenger. The problem begins when you obey the message without understanding it. You feel rejected, so you chase. You feel ignored, so you send another message. You feel criticized, so you attack. You feel jealous, so you compare. You feel afraid, so you try to control everything. But when awareness enters, the pattern can stop. You can feel the emotion and still choose a better path. The next time someone triggers you, pause and ask, "What am I afraid this means about me?" That question can take you deeper than anger ever will. Maybe their rejection is making you think you are unlovable. Maybe their silence is making you think you are unimportant. Maybe their criticism is making you think you are a failure. But feelings are not always facts. A person rejecting you does not prove you are unworthy. Someone misunderstanding you does not make you wrong. Someone failing to value you does not reduce your value. Someone leaving does not mean you were not enough. This is where healing begins. You stop allowing other people's behavior to become a definition of who you are. You begin separating their choices from your worth. And the more you do this, the less power triggers have over you. Imagine someone has a button on your arm. Every time they press it, you become angry. They know exactly what to say. They know what annoys you. They know what makes you insecure. They know how to pull you into an argument. As long as that button works, they have some control. But what happens when you understand the button? What happens when you heal what is underneath it? They press it again, and this time nothing happens. Not because you became cold, because you became free. This is why inner work is so powerful. You are not trying to stop the world from touching your wounds. You are healing the wounds so deeply that the world can no longer control you through them. You stop needing everyone to approve of you, so criticism becomes lighter. You stop needing everyone to stay, so distance becomes easier to accept. You stop needing to be right all the time, so disagreement stops feeling like an attack. You stop building your worth on attention. So being ignored no longer destroys your confidence. Slowly, your peace moves back into your own hands. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that suffering grows through attachment. The more tightly you hold something, the more afraid you become of losing it. If you are deeply attached to being respected, disrespect will control you. If you are deeply attached to being liked, rejection will control you. If you are deeply attached to being understood, misunderstanding will control you. If you are deeply attached to always being right, disagreement will control you. Freedom begins when you loosen your grip. You can still enjoy respect. You can still appreciate love. You can still value connection. But you stop saying, "I need this in order to be okay." That one change makes you stronger. Because the less you need from the outside world to feel whole, the less the outside world can use against you. So the next time someone triggers you, do not only look at them, look within. Ask what the moment is showing you. Maybe the person is difficult, maybe they are unfair, maybe they are wrong. But the trigger may still contain a lesson. It may show you where you are still searching for approval, where you are still afraid, where you are still holding too tightly, where you still need to heal. Do not hate these places inside you. Meet them gently, understand them, heal them, because one day, the same words that once ruined your whole day may reach you again, and you will notice something beautiful. They no longer have the same power. The person did not change. The world did not change. You did. And that is real growth. When the things that once controlled your emotions can no longer control your peace. 3. You become untouchable when you stop needing to be understood. One of the most exhausting things you can do is spend your life trying to make everyone understand you. You want people to understand your heart, your intentions, your choices, your silence, your boundaries. You want them to know why you changed, why you walked away, why you stopped giving, why you finally said no. And when someone misunderstands you, something inside you immediately wants to explain. You think, if they knew the whole story, they would understand. So you explain. Then you explain again. You choose better words. You give more details. You try to show them that you are not the person they think you are. But sometimes, no matter how clearly you explain yourself, they still choose their own version of you. And this is where peace becomes difficult, because you are trying to control something that was never yours to control, another person's mind. Think about how much energy we lose trying to manage what other people think about us. Someone calls you selfish because you finally set a boundary. You want to explain how many times you helped before you became tired. Someone says you have changed. You want to explain everything you went through that forced you to grow. Someone thinks you are distant. You want to tell them how many times you were hurt before you became careful. Someone judges a decision you made. You want to give them the full story so they will finally see your side. But there is something powerful you eventually learn. Not everyone needs the full story. And not everyone who hears the full story will understand it. Sometimes people understand only from the level of awareness they have. They see your boundary and call it selfishness. They see your silence and call it weakness. They see your distance and call it pride. They see you choosing yourself and call it arrogance. But their interpretation does not automatically become the truth. A person can misunderstand you completely and still feel completely certain about their opinion. That is why your peace cannot depend on being understood by everyone. If you need everyone to see you correctly, you will spend your whole life explaining yourself. And even then, you will never finish, because every person sees you through their own eyes, through their own past, their own expectations, their own fears, their own experiences, their own wounds. To one person, you may seem quiet. To another, peaceful. To someone else, distant. One person may see confidence. Another may see arrogance. One person may love the same quality another person criticizes. You cannot become a different version of yourself for every person who has an opinion. If you try, eventually you will lose the one person you should never abandon, yourself. This is where Buddhist wisdom offers a beautiful lesson. Much of our suffering comes from attachment, and one of the strongest attachments is attachment to our image. We want to be seen as good, kind, strong, intelligent, successful, loving, right. So when someone sees us differently, we feel threatened. We rush to protect the image. But ask yourself, If you truly know your heart, why must every person agree with you? If you know you acted with honesty, why must everyone understand your choice? If you know why you walked away, why must someone who never lived your experience approve of your decision? Sometimes the need to explain yourself is not coming from truth. It is coming from fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of being judged, fear of becoming the bad person in someone else's story. And this fear can keep you trapped. You start saying yes when you want to say no. You stay quiet when something needs to be addressed. You keep giving when you are already empty. You remain in places you have outgrown because leaving may disappoint someone. You betray your own peace just to protect the image others have of you. That is too high a price. You are allowed to disappoint someone when protecting yourself requires it. You are allowed to say no without writing a long explanation. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to leave places where your peace is constantly being destroyed. And yes, some people may misunderstand you. Let them. This does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean ignoring every opinion. Sometimes people see things in us that we cannot see ourselves. A wise person listens. If someone gives you honest criticism, do not reject it simply because it hurts. Look at it. Ask yourself whether there is truth in it. If there is, learn, grow, become better. But if you look honestly and know the opinion is unfair, do not carry it just because someone handed it to you. Not every opinion about you belongs to you. Some opinions should remain with the person who created them. This is emotional freedom. You listen without losing yourself. You learn without allowing criticism to destroy your worth. You can say, maybe there is something here I need to improve. And you can also say, this does not belong to me. Both require wisdom. There is another truth you must understand. Some people benefit from the old version of you. They liked you when you never said no. They liked you when you answered every call. They liked you when you forgave everything without asking for change. They liked you when you were afraid to disappoint them. Then you begin to grow. You create boundaries. You stop chasing. You stop explaining every decision. You stop allowing disrespect just to keep the connection. And suddenly they say, you've changed. Maybe you have. Growth is change. Healing is change. Learning self-respect is change. Becoming peaceful is change. You are not meant to remain the same person forever just because someone became comfortable with the version of you that had no boundaries. Sometimes when people say, you changed, what they really mean is, you no longer respond the way I expected. That is okay. You are allowed to outgrow patterns that were destroying you. You are allowed to become harder to manipulate. You are allowed to become more careful about where your energy goes. You are allowed to protect the peace you worked hard to build. The people who truly care about you may need time to understand your growth, but they will not require you to destroy yourself to make them comfortable. And the people who only loved your lack of boundaries may become uncomfortable when those boundaries appear. Their discomfort is not always proof that you are doing something wrong. Sometimes it is proof that something has changed. So stop chasing every misunderstanding. Stop running after people with explanations. Stop trying to convince everyone that your heart is good. Live in a way that allows your character to speak for itself. Let time reveal what arguments cannot. Let your actions become your explanation. And understand this, someone else's opinion of you does not have to become your opinion of yourself. Someone can call you weak. You do not have to feel weak. Someone can call you selfish. You do not have to abandon your boundaries. Someone can dislike you. You do not have to dislike yourself. Someone can misunderstand your silence. You do not have to break it just to make them comfortable. The moment you understand this, something changes. You become much harder to trigger, because one of the easiest ways to control a person is to threaten their image. Question who they are, misunderstand them, judge them, and watch them rush to prove themselves. But when you no longer need every person to understand you, that power disappears. You stop saying, "How can I make them see me differently?" And you begin asking, "Am I living according to what I know is right?" That question matters more, because peace does not come from being understood by everyone. There will always be people who see you incorrectly. Peace comes from understanding yourself so clearly that another person's misunderstanding does not make you lose yourself. You know your intentions, you know your values, you know what you have survived. You know what you are working to become. Keep learning, keep correcting yourself when you are wrong, keep growing, but stop handing your identity to every person who has an opinion about you. Let them think. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. You have a life to live. And when you finally stop needing everyone to understand you, you discover something beautiful. You never needed their permission to be at peace. 4. Not everything deserves access to your peace. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you have, because whatever receives your attention receives a piece of your life. Think about it. Someone says something rude in 10 seconds, but you think about it for 3 hours. Someone sends you a cold message in the morning. You carry the feeling until evening. Someone gives you a strange look. You spend the rest of the day wondering what it meant. Someone criticizes you online. They forget the comment 5 minutes later, but you read it again and again. The moment was small, but the space you gave it inside your mind became huge. And this is how many people lose their peace. Not because every problem is big, but because they give small things too much attention. A few careless words become an entire day of overthinking. One person's opinion becomes a question about your worth. One uncomfortable moment becomes a conversation you repeat inside your head all night. One disappointment becomes a story about how nothing ever works for you. The event ends, but your mind keeps feeding it. Buddhist wisdom teaches something simple but powerful. You cannot always choose what enters your awareness, but you can learn what deserves to stay there. Thoughts will come, memories will come, anger will come, fear will come, people will say things you do not like. Life will place uncomfortable moments in front of you. You cannot stop all of that, but you do not have to build a home for everything that enters your mind. Some things are meant to pass. Imagine your mind is like a peaceful garden. Would you allow every stranger walking past to throw garbage over the wall? Of course not. Yet emotionally, we often allow exactly that. Someone brings anger. We let it stay. Someone brings negativity. We carry it. Someone brings gossip. We think about it. Someone brings judgment. We turn it into self-doubt. Someone brings chaos. We allow it to become our chaos. Then we wonder why our inner world feels crowded. Your peace needs a gate, not a wall that blocks life. A gate that helps you choose what deserves to enter. This is where awareness becomes protection. The next time something bothers you, ask yourself, does this deserve this much of my attention? Not, was this person wrong? They may have been. Not, do I have the right to be upset? You may have every right. Ask whether the situation deserves the amount of life you are giving it. Because every minute you spend replaying something is a minute you cannot spend somewhere else. You cannot use the same moment to build your future and fight an old argument in your head. You cannot fully enjoy the person sitting beside you while mentally arguing with someone who is not even there. You cannot live deeply in the present while constantly returning to yesterday. Attention has a direction. Where you send it matters. Imagine waking every morning with a limited amount of mental energy. You need some of it for your work, some for your family, some for your health, some for your dreams, some for learning, some for rest, some simply for enjoying the fact that you are alive. But then you spend part of it worrying about what someone thinks, another part replaying something someone said, another part comparing your life with somebody else's, another part imagining an argument that has not even happened, another part thinking about a person who is no longer part of your life. By evening, you feel exhausted. You say, "I don't know why I'm so tired." Sometimes your body is not the only thing that is tired. Your attention is tired. It has been pulled in too many directions. This is why protecting your peace is not selfish. It is necessary. You cannot give your best energy to your life if every small disturbance receives a piece of you. Not every message needs an immediate reply. Not every disagreement needs a debate. Not every rumor needs correction. Not every insult needs an answer. Not every person deserves another chance to disturb you. And not every thought deserves to become a story. This last one is important. A thought appears. Why did they ignore me? If you leave it alone, it may pass. But instead, you answer it. Maybe they are angry with me. Then another thought comes. What did I do? Then another. Maybe I said something wrong. Then another. Maybe they don't care anymore. Nothing new has happened in reality, but inside your mind, an entire story has been created. Now you are suffering because of something you do not even know is true. This is how overthinking steals peace. One thought enters, then we give it another, then another, then another, until a small question becomes an emotional storm. Mindfulness teaches you to notice the first thought without automatically following it. You can say, there is worry, there is anger, there is fear, there is the need to know. And then you can return to the present. You do not need to solve every thought. You do not need to follow every thought. You do not even need to believe every thought. A thought can appear inside your mind without becoming the truth. That understanding alone can save you from so much unnecessary suffering. Think of your thoughts like people knocking on your door. Some deserve to enter. Some bring something useful. Some need your attention. But others are only bringing noise. You are allowed to hear the knock without opening the door. This is not running away from life. It is choosing what belongs inside your inner world. The same is true with people. Some people know exactly how to pull you into their chaos. They say something sharp because they want a reaction. They send a message because they know you will respond emotionally. They bring up the same subject because they know it will upset you. And every time you react exactly as expected, the pattern continues. But one day, you do something different. You do not give the reaction they came looking for. You remain calm. Maybe you answer simply. Maybe you change the subject. Maybe you walk away. Maybe you say nothing. Suddenly, the old game has no player. This is why silence can be so powerful. Not silence used as punishment. Not silence meant to make someone suffer, but silence that comes from understanding. The silence that says, I see what is happening, and I do not need to enter it. That is different. You are not powerless. You are choosing where your power goes. There will be times when you must speak. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, say something. If something important needs to be addressed, address it. If your silence would allow harm to continue, use your voice. Peace does not mean becoming passive, but even when you speak, you do not have to surrender your calm. You can be firm without being cruel. You can say no without hatred. You can disagree without turning someone into an enemy. You can leave without creating a final explosion. A peaceful person is not someone who avoids every difficult conversation. A peaceful person knows how to enter difficult conversations without losing themselves. That is strength. And sometimes the wisest choice is realizing there is no conversation worth having. Some people do not want understanding. They want conflict. Some arguments are not searching for truth. They are searching for a winner. Some people will continue changing the subject, twisting your words, and bringing up old mistakes because peace was never their goal. You do not have to stay there. You are allowed to stop. You are allowed to say, "This conversation is going nowhere," and leave. You do not need the final word. The need for the final word has destroyed more peace than silence ever did. Ask yourself, what would actually change if I won this argument? Would the person understand me? Would the relationship become healthier? Would tomorrow become better? Or would my ego simply feel satisfied for a few minutes? Choose carefully, because sometimes winning an argument costs more than losing it. You may win the words and lose the relationship. You may prove your point and lose your whole evening. You may make them feel small and later dislike the person you became in that moment. Not every victory is worth its price. There is another form of attention you must learn to protect. The attention you give to people who are no longer present. Sometimes, someone leaves your life physically but continues living inside your mind. You replay old conversations. Imagine what they are doing. Wonder whether they miss you. Think about what you should have said. Create conversations that will probably never happen. The relationship ended outside you, but inside you, it continues every day. This is another way attention keeps us attached. Letting go does not always mean forgetting someone. Sometimes it means no longer giving them today's energy for yesterday's story. You can remember without returning. You can care without chasing. You can appreciate what happened without needing it to happen again. You can miss someone without making missing them your home. This is where peace becomes deeper. You stop asking, "How do I remove every painful thought?" and start asking, "How do I stop feeding it?" Because what you constantly feed grows. Feed resentment, and resentment grows. Feed comparison, and comparison grows. Feed fear, and fear grows. But feed awareness, and awareness grows. Feed gratitude, and gratitude grows. Feed discipline, and discipline grows. Feed peace, and peace becomes easier to return to. Your mind learns from what you repeatedly give it. If every small problem receives hours of attention, your mind learns that every small problem is important. If every criticism creates a crisis, your mind learns that criticism is dangerous. But when you notice something, understand it, deal with what needs to be dealt with, and then release it, your mind learns something new. We do not need to carry everything. That is a beautiful lesson. You do not need to carry everything. Not every insult, not every disappointment, not every mistake, not every opinion, not every memory, not every person who walked away. Your hands were never meant to hold all of it. Put some things down, not because they never mattered, because they have already taken enough from you. There is a difference between learning from the past and living inside it. Take the lesson, leave the weight. There is a difference between caring about someone's opinion and building your identity around it. Listen when it is useful, release it when it is not. There is a difference between solving a problem and thinking about the same problem 100 times. Do what you can, then allow yourself to rest. This is how you protect your peace, not by hiding from the world, not by becoming cold, but by becoming wise about where your energy goes. Your attention is precious. Your time is precious. Your peace is precious. Stop giving expensive things to situations that offer you nothing in return. Let people talk. Let some messages remain unanswered until you are calm. Let some arguments end without a winner. Let some opinions exist without correcting them. Let some memories pass without following them. Let some people leave without chasing them for one final explanation. You do not have to attend every disturbance that calls your name, and when you understand that, something beautiful begins to happen. The world may remain noisy, but your mind becomes quieter. People may still behave badly, but their behavior stops following you everywhere. Problems still appear, but they no longer receive your entire inner world. You begin choosing where your attention lives. And that is when peace becomes more than a feeling. It becomes a way of living, because real peace is not having a life where nothing ever disturbs you. Real peace is knowing that not everything that disturbs you deserves to stay with you. 5. True freedom begins when nothing outside you controls what happens within you. There is a deeper kind of freedom that has nothing to do with where you live, how much money you have, or whether life is going exactly the way you planned. It is the freedom of knowing that your inner world still belongs to you. Someone can disagree with you without changing who you are. Someone can leave without taking your worth with them. Someone can criticize you without becoming the voice inside your head. Someone can refuse to understand you without forcing you to explain yourself forever. Life can change suddenly, and although you may feel the pain of that change, you do not have to lose yourself inside it. This is where all the previous lessons lead. At first, we think peace will come when the world finally behaves correctly, when people respect us, when the person we love understands us, when nobody disappoints us, when our plans work, when uncertainty disappears, when people stop testing our patience. But if your peace depends on everything outside you behaving the way you want, your peace will always be fragile, because life does not ask for permission before it changes. People change. Plans fail. Relationships end. Opportunities disappear. Promises are broken. People misunderstand. Someone you trusted may disappoint you. Something you thought would last may suddenly end. You cannot build lasting peace by demanding that in a changing world remain exactly as you want it. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to see this clearly. Everything changes. The morning becomes evening. Summer becomes winter. A child becomes an adult. The body grows older. People arrive. People leave. Feelings rise. Feelings fade. Even the pain that once felt impossible to survive eventually changes shape. Nothing stays exactly the same forever. We know this, but emotionally, we often live as if things should remain. We find something we love and think, please never change. We meet someone and think, please never leave. We achieve something and think, please let this last. Then change comes, and we suffer not only because something changed, but because we believed it was not supposed to. This is where attachment becomes painful. Attachment says, this person must stay for me to be okay. This situation must work for me to be happy. They must understand me before I can move forward. They must apologize before I can find peace. I must get the outcome I want. And suddenly, your peace has conditions. You are saying, I will be okay, when reality gives me what I asked for. But what happens when it does not? Do you stop living? Do you stay angry forever? Do you keep waiting for an apology that may never arrive? Do you spend years trying to understand why someone chose differently? Or do you learn something stronger? You learn to accept what is in front of you. Acceptance is often misunderstood. Acceptance does not mean you like what happened. It does not mean someone was right to hurt you. It does not mean you stop trying to improve your life. It simply means you stop fighting the fact that something has already happened. If someone left, they left. You may wish they stayed. You may miss them. You may grieve. But fighting reality every morning will not bring peace. If someone has repeatedly shown you they cannot give you what you need, see that clearly. Do not keep falling in love with who they might become. If someone refuses to understand you after you have explained yourself honestly, see that too. Maybe another explanation is not what you need. Maybe acceptance is. There is great peace in seeing people as they are, instead of constantly suffering over who you wish they would become. Sometimes we are not attached to the person. We are attached to their potential. We see who they could become, how loving they could be, how beautiful the relationship could feel, how different everything could be if they changed. So we keep waiting. We keep forgiving the same pattern. We keep hoping tomorrow will bring a different person. But wisdom asks, what are they showing you today? Not what they promised 6 months ago, not what you imagined they could become. What are they showing you now? Reality may hurt for a moment. Illusion can hurt for years. Seeing clearly is not cruel. It is freedom. And once you stop fighting reality, your energy returns. You stop trying to force people to choose you. You stop begging for respect. You stop chasing explanations. You stop trying to make someone care. You stop forcing closed doors to open. You stop spending your life asking why something is not becoming what you wanted. You begin working with what is actually here. This is where detachment becomes beautiful. Detachment does not mean, I care about nothing. It means, I can care deeply without losing myself. You can love someone without owning them. You can appreciate someone without needing them to stay forever. You can work hard toward a dream without believing failure would make you worthless. You can hope for something without making your entire happiness depend on it. You can give love without demanding that another person love exactly like you. You can allow life to move without trying to control every step. That is freedom. Imagine holding sand in your hand. Keep your hand open and the sand can rest there. But close your fist tightly because you are afraid of losing it, and the sand begins slipping between your fingers. Life often works the same way. The tighter we hold, the more afraid we become. The more afraid we become, the more we try to control. The more we try to control, the less peaceful we feel. Sometimes peace requires opening your hand, not throwing everything away. Simply loosening your grip, saying, I value this, but I do not own it. I love this person, but I cannot control them. I want this future, but life may take me somewhere different. I hope this works, but if it does not, I will still be here. Those words carry strength, because now your happiness is no longer sitting inside something you cannot control. Think about how much suffering comes from wanting control over other people. You want them to answer. You want them to apologize. You want them to change. You want them to choose you. You want them to see your value. You want them to understand your heart. But their choices belong to them. Your response belongs to you. That is where your power lives. You cannot control whether someone respects you, but you can decide what access disrespect receives to your life. You cannot control whether someone stays, but you can choose not to abandon yourself when they leave. You cannot control what people say about you, but you can choose whether their words become your identity. You cannot control every outcome, but you can choose the person you become while facing it. This is the shift. You stop asking, how can I control what happens? And begin asking, how do I want to meet what happens? That question changes everything. Because now your strength is not dependent on life becoming easy. Your strength comes from knowing that even when life becomes difficult, you can meet it with awareness. A storm can come. You may bend. You may feel afraid. You may cry. You may need time. But you do not have to become the storm. This is important. Peace does not mean never feeling anger. Freedom does not mean never feeling sadness. Detachment does not mean never missing someone. Wisdom does not mean nothing hurts. You are human. Things will hurt. There will be days when you feel deeply disappointed. There will be moments when someone's words reach a tender place. There will be endings you wish never happened. The goal is not to become a stone. A stone cannot suffer, but it cannot love either. The goal is to remain open without becoming controlled. Feel anger, but do not let anger choose your character. Feel sadness, but do not turn one painful day into a hopeless future. Feel rejection, but do not make another person's choice a measurement of your worth. Feel disappointment, but do not let disappointment make you bitter. Feel everything. Become owned by nothing. That is inner freedom. And this is where something powerful happens. People who once knew how to control your reactions begin to lose that ability. Someone says the thing that used to make you angry. You hear it. You feel something rise. But instead of exploding, you watch it. Someone ignores you. The old version of you would have chased, asked what happened, checked your phone again and again, created stories. Now you notice the silence and continue your day. Someone misunderstands you. The old version of you would have written a long explanation. Now you ask whether explaining is truly necessary. If it is, you speak. If it is not, you let them think what they think. Someone walks away. The old version of you might have run after them. Now you understand. If someone truly wants to leave, chasing them only teaches you to abandon yourself. So you let them go. It may hurt, but pain and loss of self are not the same thing. You can hurt and still remain whole. That is growth. People may look at you and say, "You changed." Yes, you learned that every action does not need a reaction. You learned that silence can carry more wisdom than anger. You learned that some doors are supposed to close. You learned that being misunderstood is not an emergency. You learned that another person's rejection cannot reduce your worth. You learned that your peace deserves protection. And most importantly, you learned that you do not need to control people to be free from their control. This is the beautiful truth. You do not become free when everyone stops triggering you. You become free when triggers stop choosing who you become. Someone may still make you angry, but anger no longer owns your next move. Someone may disappoint you, but disappointment does not own your whole week. Someone may leave, but their departure does not take your future. Someone may judge you, but their judgment does not become your identity. The world continues being the world, but you become different within it. You become slower to anger, slower to judge, slower to chase, slower to react, and quicker to understand, quicker to notice your own mind, quicker to release what does not deserve you, quicker to return to peace. This is not something you master in one day. There will be moments when you react again. There will be times when emotion wins. Do not turn those moments into another reason to attack yourself. Notice them, learn, begin again. Every pause is practice. Every time you choose not to send the angry message, you are practicing. Every time you refuse an unnecessary argument, you are practicing. Every time you let someone misunderstand you without losing yourself, you are practicing. Every time you notice a painful thought without following it for hours, you are practicing. Every time you accept what you cannot control, you are practicing freedom. Little by little, your inner world becomes harder for chaos to enter. Not because you built walls around your heart, because you finally learned to guard the door. And one day, something will happen that would have destroyed your peace in the past. Someone will say something. Someone will disappoint you. Someone will try to pull you back into an old pattern. For a second, you will feel the old reaction. Then you will pause. And instead of becoming the old version of yourself, you will simply see what is happening. You may even smile, because you will realize, this used to control me. That moment is worth more than winning 100 arguments, because you did not defeat another person. You became free from something inside yourself. You no longer need to prove. You no longer need to chase. You no longer need to control. You no longer need everyone to understand. You no longer give every disturbance a home inside you. The world can be loud without making your mind loud. Someone can bring chaos without turning you into chaos. Someone can carry anger without placing it inside you. Someone can reject you without teaching you to reject yourself. Someone can leave without taking your peace with them. That is true freedom, not controlling the world around you, but becoming so aware of the world within you that outside events no longer decide who you become. When you reach that understanding, peace stops being something you wait for. It becomes something you carry. And once peace lives within you, not everyone gets the power to take it away. Your freedom begins the moment you stop giving every person, every word, and every situation the power to control what happens inside you. Feel what you feel, but choose what you become. Let people misunderstand. Let unnecessary arguments pass. Let what wants to leave, leave. Protect your peace without closing your heart. If this message spoke to you, subscribe and continue this journey with us. And remember, the strongest response is sometimes no reaction at all. Master your reactions, and you begin to master your life.